Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the mixed sole soft ground Puma evoPOWER 1 in the latest fluorescent yellow, prism purple, and scuba blue colorway. Now inside the box, along with the shoes themselves, because this is a soft ground variation, Puma does include a stud key for the removable metal studs, but other than that, all you're going to find inside the box are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly, and if you guys could take a second to leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. So here is a look at the mixed sole soft ground version of the Puma evoPOWER 1 in the latest colorway. Definitely a very vibrant color. A lot of you guys have been asking to see this shoe featured on the channel. The Puma evoPOWER 1 is extremely underrated if you ask me. I think Puma is getting some attention with this model, but as far as shoes that I personally love to wear at this point in time, the Puma evoPOWER 1 is right at the top of the list, probably in my top 3 shoes that I really enjoy wearing, even when I'm not testing out product. So again, this is the soft ground variation. Kind of curious to try it out, so I thought I'd pick it up in the latest colorway. And again, if you guys want more information on the overall performance, I would strongly recommend checking out the full written review of the firm ground variation on my website, linked down below in the description. Also on the review page, you will be able to buy these for yourself with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, allowing you to pick them up below the retail price, either in firm ground or the mixed sole soft ground if you guys are interested, so be sure to check that out. And I'll also leave an annotation on screen to my playtest video of the evoPOWER 1, where again, you can get more information on the overall performance and of course see the shoes in action. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. To start things off, let's talk about the colorway. Now, this particular color of the evoPOWER 1 released alongside the brand new EvoSpeed 1.3 model from Puma. If you guys missed my video on that, I'll leave an annotation on screen. But essentially, this colorway is a reverse of what we got on the EvoSpeed 1.3, which featured a purple base with fluorescent yellow detailing. This is, like I said, the opposite. So you have your fluorescent yellow base, which essentially is like a Volt Yellow from Nike if you want to compare it to another brand. You have your nice kind of evoPOWER detailing that you find on all the colorways across the entire upper. And again, if you're looking to stand out, if you're looking for something extremely bright, this colorway of the evoPOWER 1 will certainly do that for you. You have your Prism purple branding or Prism violet branding in the form of your Puma branding right there, your Puma logo here on the instep, and then of course the heel liner, the little tab right here on the back, and the entire sole plate is also purple in color, as well as the studs that are a little bit more pink as opposed to purple because they have that kind of colored metallic finish. One thing that I get a lot, a question I get a lot I should say, is that whenever a soft ground shoe has colored studs that aren't silver, a lot of people wonder why this color wears off. It's just because it's the finish on the outside. It's just for show. It's very normal that they wear off, and as long as you're wearing the shoes, it's something that is inevitably going to happen. So if you see the color starting to come off your studs a little bit, don't worry about it. It's totally normal, and there's really nothing you can do about it. It's not a defect, just something that is naturally going to happen. And then your final detail color, you can see it in some of the studs, your evoPOWER branding, your Adapt Light branding, your AccuFoam branding, and then the EverFit cage here on the medial side is that scuba blue color. It's kind of like a teal, light blue, kind of aqua color. Really good looking. It accents well with the other vibrant colors found on this particular shoe. So again, if you're looking for something very bright that's going to stand out extremely well, this colorway of the evoPOWER 1 is going to be extremely unique out there on the field. Not many people are wearing the evoPOWER 1, especially in this particular colorway. So again, if you're looking for something unique, this shoe in this particular colorway will definitely do that for you. Leave your opinions down below in the comments. Do you like the look of this colorway? Is it too over the top? I think for me personally it is. But again, everybody has their own opinion. Everybody likes different types of colorways. So again, leave your opinions on it down below in the comment section. I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say in regards to the overall appearance. So that's pretty much it as far as the colorway goes. And next we'll talk about all the tech specs and what you need to know about this shoe if you are planning on ordering a pair. As far as performance is concerned, again, if you want more information on the evoPOWER 1, I would strongly recommend checking out the full written review on my website, linked down below in the description, and I'll also leave an annotation on screen to my playtest video of the evoPOWER 1, where you can see the shoes in action. Now, this is of course the mixed sole soft ground variation of the evoPOWER 1, and soft grounds are a type of shoe that I always get a lot of questions about. People are under the impression, or at least a lot of people are under the impression, that you can remove these metal studs replace them with plastic ones and use this as a firm ground stud pattern. And that is something that I would strongly recommend against doing. You're going to hurt the shoe. You're going to have unnecessary stud pressure that you wouldn't get with the firm ground variation. And you can, like I said, very easily damage the shoe because all of these metal studs actually have a screw-in point. And when you wear them on harder ground plane surfaces, you're going to actually put a lot of stress on the threading on the inside, which eventually will result in the shoe breaking. And once one of the studs breaks off, the shoe is pretty much ready for the garbage because you can't play with missing studs on the bottom of your cleats. It's not safe, and of course the performance won't be there either. So again, unless you're playing on actual soft ground, and that is generally ground where it tends to rain a lot, it's very muddy, it's very mushy. If you're somebody who's kind of contemplating whether or not you need a soft ground stud pattern, really the best way to justify it is if you're currently wearing firm ground shoes and you find yourself slipping a lot due to the ground actually being too soft, that's probably a good indication that it may be a good idea to take a look at a pair of soft ground shoes because you will get better traction out of them. But for what I would say is 90% of people out there, you probably don't need a pair of soft grounds all the time. It's a good thing to have in your bag for certain situations, but again, it's not one of those shoes that you want to buy to use the entire season unless you are consistently playing in soft ground environments. So on this particular stud pattern, as you can see, there's not a lot of variation with the mixed sole soft ground. They really just replaced certain studs that would normally be molded on the firm ground stud pattern. You can see you have your two bladed studs in the heel along with two screw-in metal studs right there in place of what would normally be bladed molded studs. You have two right here at the base of the forefoot and then two at the very tip with your molded studs right there in the middle. So there aren't any extra studs with this particular layout. You just have some of the studs being metal as opposed to plastic. Obviously they are longer, obviously they're more aggressive. So again, when you are playing on softer natural grass playing surfaces, you're going to get a lot of extra grip using this type of stud pattern. Now, while we're on the point of the stud pattern and the sole plate, something I was curious about with the evoPOWER 1 in the soft ground variation is how this ultra thin gradual support frame sole plate would deal with stud pressure and comfort in general. It doesn't appear that they've beefed up the sole plate in any way, and one of the major kind of design aspects of the evoPOWER 1 is that the sole plate is ultra thin for the simple fact that it has the ability to flex backwards to provide more of a natural kicking mechanic, as if you were to kick the ball barefoot, which is supposed to result in more power in your shots. It's an interesting sensation and an interesting feature of the evoPOWER 1, one that I personally really like. But like I said, I was curious to see how this thinner sole plate would handle a more stud pressure, a more aggressive type of stud in the form of a metal soft ground stud. So kind of curious to see how that's going to work out. Again, the sole plate appears to be mostly unchanged. You have your kind of little bit of a ridged kind of stiffener bar here in the middle. It still is stiff enough to provide good support, but at the same time does have that ability to flex back, which is one of the major features of the evoPOWER 1. So if you're buying the firm ground or the soft ground variation, you're not losing that feature in any way, so please keep that in mind. And then moving on to the upper, it is arguably one of the most unique uppers out there on the market. I would say it's kind of head-to-head between this upper, the Nike skin found on the Hypervenom Phantom, and the uppers found on the Magista Obra, as well as the Superfly 4, which obviously are made from Flyknit. This is a synthetic upper that is made from a material called Adaplite, which is a one-way stretch microfiber, meaning that it's going to stretch vertically, so up and down, but it won't stretch horizontally. So the stability you get from the upper is still very good. It's not going to overstretch on you, but it does have a slightly elasticated quality, and that's part of the reason why it has that ability to bend backwards. It's very, very comfortable to wear because of this stretchy quality, and it's very noticeable when you go from a synthetic shoe like the evoPOWER 1 into any other synthetic material, because it doesn't have that same stretch kind of feel about it. It's thin, but has a nice plushness about it, and it just moves very naturally and is extremely soft against your foot. One of the most comfortable thin synthetic shoes out there on the market. Now, along with your Adaplite synthetic, you have your AccuFoam padding running through pretty much all the striking areas, or most of the areas on the foot where you're going to be making contact with the ball. It's a thin layer of kind of memory foam that's there to kind of work with the system of the evoPOWER. Puma did some testing. They found that the extra flexibility along with the thinner upper would result in more power, where having a little bit of extra padding, which they provided from the AccuFoam pads here, is going to provide better accuracy. And the striking sensation you get from the evoPOWER 1, there's really no additional grip whatsoever, but the actual sensation of hitting the ball feels absolutely incredible. It's a really good shoe, one of my personal favorites to strike the ball in. And again, if you're into taking free kicks, if you're into shooting the ball a lot and you want just one of the most unique experiences out there on the market, the evoPOWER 1 will definitely deliver. You have your off-centered lacing system, as you can see, with your two little kind of AccuFoam memory foam inserts right there in the tongue to cut down on any kind of lace bite. You have your external EverFit cage right here in the kind of midfoot area. It's debatable as to whether or not it's even necessary. It's more of just a visual thing as opposed to anything that I would say is functional. But nonetheless, there's no stability issues, so I suppose it is possibly doing something. You have this little cutout right here in the back, which essentially is there just to provide some extra flexibility. Again, when your foot's flexing back, your heel's going to go back a little bit as well, so that's just to kind of eliminate any possible chance of discomfort in the rear portion of the shoe, which it does effectively. It does have a lower cut, as you can see. You have your internal plastic heel counter. The heel liner is a kind of textured synthetic leather material with a ton of extra padding, so again, step-in comfort is really good. And as far as the insole is concerned, it is fully removable. You can see it's pretty straightforward with a mesh liner on top, one single layer of this thin white foam, and you can see there are two inserts of this relatively thick perforated yellow foam. So again, step-in comfort is really good with the evoPOWER 1. No complaints there whatsoever, and overall, it's just a very comfortable shoe. So that's pretty much it as far as the tech specs and what you should know in regards to the overall performance of the evoPOWER 1. And next we'll move on to a quick weigh-in so you can see how lightweight these guys are. Despite the evoPOWER 1 not being labeled as a speed boot, if you will, it still is surprisingly lightweight, especially in the firm ground variation. But as we see when we go from firm ground to soft ground, in 99% of cases, the shoe does have a bit of an increase in weight, which is somewhat noticeable in the evoPOWER 1 soft ground variation. So I'm going to weigh both the firm ground, which is what I have right here, as well as the soft ground variation of the evoPOWER 1. Keep in mind these are both in brand new condition and both a size 9.5 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the firm ground evoPOWER 1, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.3 ounces, which, like I said, is very lightweight, especially considering how comfortable these shoes are. So we'll take that off the scale, and we'll throw on the soft ground variation, and you can see that these weigh in at 8.7 ounces, so they are more than a full ounce more than the standard evoPOWER 1 in the firm ground variation. So yes, there is a noticeable weight difference between the two shoes. Nonetheless, it's still nice and lightweight and still very light for a soft ground shoe in general. So again, if you're looking for that evoPOWER 1 feel, which is going to be suitable for soft ground playing environments, I would still recommend the mixed sole soft ground variation of the evoPOWER 1, despite it weighing a little bit more than the firm ground version. But again, that is more or less to be expected. Alright, here's a look at the evoPOWER 1s on feet, and from right out of the box, these things are incredibly comfortable. There's really no break-in time required. From brand new, the upper is thin, it's soft, it's flexible. Because you have that flexibility from both the Adapt-Lite synthetic and the sole plate, they just feel extremely natural, but at the same time don't feel flimsy. So it's an interesting combination of materials to make for a very comfortable feel that you really can't get from any other shoe out there on the market. As far as the fit is concerned, just like a lot of Puma models, this does have that kind of anatomical shaping to it in the toe box forefoot area. So it's slightly wider in the forefoot, but it has more of a point at the big toe area and then kind of curls around as opposed to just being perfectly rounded at the toe. Some people don't like this. I find it to be not very noticeable at all when I'm actually wearing the shoes. And in comparison to the evoSpeed line, it's not quite as significant on the evoPOWER. So again, I don't think it's one of those features that will scare a lot of people away. If you were concerned about it, it's just not something you notice all that much while wearing the shoe. But again, the comfort is great. And as far as width is concerned, you're not going to get much stretch out of the upper, but the actual width is pretty decent. So as long as you don't have ridiculously wide feet, these should fit you pretty well. Whether you have slightly wide feet to narrow feet, these will fit you very comfortably. As far as sizing is concerned, like a lot of Puma models, these run about a half size small. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I went up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going half a size up for the most comfortable and the proper fit. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing of the fluorescent yellow and prism purple mixed sole soft ground evoPOWER 1. I will be following up with my full written review of the soft ground variation of the evoPOWER 1 once I get an opportunity to try these out a couple of times on soft ground, which may not be for a couple of months just based on the weather we've been having in my area lately. The ground is pretty hard, so I don't expect it to be soft for another couple months or so. So stay tuned for that review because it will come once I have an opportunity to try them out. But in the meantime, if you guys want to check out the review page on my website, you will find the high quality images of this shoe that'll give you a better idea as to how they actually do look in person, as well as buy it now links for the mixed sole soft ground variation of the evoPOWER 1, which is somewhat difficult to come by. So if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, the link down below in the description to the review page on my website is the place to go. I'll also leave some annotations on screen, some of the performance oriented videos I have with the Puma evoPOWER 1. So again, if you want as much information as possible on the performance, check out all of those resources. Other than that though guys, if you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. That would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions or suggestions at all, be sure to leave those down below in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.